what is the level of detail that you're designing to and what it could get you to. Because like when I use something like ChatGPT, it never gets me 100% of the way there. It's always like, oh, that was super helpful, thanks. It's like the level of some guy out of school could give me, but he did a big part of the lift, formatted everything, got it in order, and then still had to take it to the finish line.
Yeah, and I'd say in our experience so far, that really is the best role for AI at this point. I know it's going to improve, but models get better the more data that we add, the more representative they are of whatever system, whatever problem you're trying to evaluate. But that's where we are most comfortable using AI at this point, is to provide that initial list, that baseline, and freeing up the expert's time, freeing up the engineer's time for the more complex steps further down the workflow. But you said that can be a huge time saver, just that initial lift. Task the computer with that and run it overnight on the weekends as needed. That can be a big time saver as well.
Do you think of it, because I think of ChatGPT as someone like you can equip a C-level student and upgrade them into a B. Are there uses like that as well, like saying, okay, or is it mostly you see it freeing up expert time? So you give it to an expert user like a PE, and he can use this. He doesn't need to then have his ZIT map out and draw all the different watersheds for him. In your example, he's able to just take it himself and keep running with it. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
I think there's room for that. Everybody's fear about AI taking our jobs and stuff like that. I guess maybe in this context, that could be partially true in terms of taking over some of those initial tasks. So, maybe instead of your team needing to have 3 or 4 people, maybe you have 2 or 3, and it could help perform some of those initial tasks.
I always look at it as we always want to try to free up the experts' time because we want them to be able to have their hands on as much as possible, because it's really hard to find that level of talent typically on a project. Would you kind of agree with that?
I think so. Like your example with ChatGPT and the large language models, and so some of these large data set types of applications, I think those are, I don't want to call them busy work, but they're things that at the end of the day, it just takes time. You got to put the effort into to get the product you're developing or your deliverable. You got to put those hours in. So I think those types of applications of AI fall into that category. But the machine learning applications, which honestly is one of my most favorite type of AI model, I think it can help along those lines too, taking lots of hours of effort that we would traditionally have to invest in and shortening that time frame. But more than that, they really do provide insight that I think in most cases we wouldn't have, even the expert. Even as engineers, that's not where we excel, taking these large amounts of data, not just 4 or 5 different options that we might be looking at in scenarios, but 30, 40, 100 different attributes that all play in and all affect a question we're trying to answer. It's hard for a human to wrap our brains around that much information and synthesize it, but these types of models are really good at that.